أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, brothers and sisters, there are a couple of elements pertaining to al-Qasam which we have been doing for the last 2 days. I'll explain them to you today, inshallah. We have seen before the introduction of Qasam to a shart, and the introduction is done by using the letter lam, la'in, and this lam, as I told you, is called al-lam al-mutiya or al-mu'attiya lil-qasam, the lam that paves the way for the qasam. So it stands for wallahi or uqsimu, and when there's a combination of qasam and shart, the jawab confirms to the qasam and not to the shart. And we have seen examples of this phenomenon in a number of ayat. Now, I would like to mention that this lam can be omitted, but it's not very frequent, but only in 3 ayat we have, it has been omitted. And when it is omitted, how do we find out? We find out from the jawab. The jawab does not conform to shart, then it should be the jawab of qasam. For example, in this, the first ayah we have, وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لِيُجَادِلُوكُمْ. وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ, shayateen plural of shaitan, وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ, this lam is lam al-lam al-muzahlaqa. Indeed, the Satans, the devils, la yuhuna, inspire. Awha, yuhi, singular, yuhi, and plural is yuhuna. Awha is past tense. We have seen this, the verb many times. Awha, yuhi. Awha is which bab? Bab 4th, Awha, yuhi. La yuhuna, Islam Allam al-Muzahalaqa. La yuhuna, they inspire or they suggest to their allies. Awliyaihim, waliyun, awliya. Of course, awliya means they're human beings or they're agents of the devils. Yuhuna ila awliyaihim liyujadilukum. Jadala yujadilu. Which bab is this? Form 3. Jadala yujadilu. What are the two masdars? Jidalun and mujadalatun. Mujadalatun. Jadala yujadilu. Mujadilun. Ismul fa'il. Jadala. Masdar is jidalun and mujadalatun. Jadala, yujadilu, jidalun and mujadalatun. Li yujadilukum, to dispute with you. This ayah, the part of the ayah which precedes this is about eating, not eating animals not slaughtered in the name of Allah. Innahu fisqun, it is abomination. Wa inna shayatina liyuhuna ila awliyaihim liyujadilukum. Indeed, the Satans, the devils, suggest to their allies to dispute with you. Wa in ata'tumuhum, wa in ata'tumuhum, and if you obey them, innakum la mushrikun. Indeed, you are mushrik. Innakum la mushrikun. Now, here, wa in ata'tum, this is shart. Innakum, jawab shart, is a jumla ismiya, and it should have what? Fa. So if it is jawab shart, it must have fa. So it cannot be jawab shart because there is no fa. That means it is jawab al-Qasam, and the lam has to be supplied in your mind. Wala in ata'tumuhum. Wala in ata'tumuhum. Innakum la mushrikun. Is it clear? Yes. You can easily find out that it does not conform to jawab al-shart. It must be jawab al-Qasam. Now, second, we'll come to that a little later. The third ayah, we have seen part of this ayah before yesterday, but I have written it completely now. Alam tara ila alladhina nafaqu yaquluna li ikhwanihim alladhina kafaru min ahli al-kitabi la in ukhrijtum la nakhrujanna ma'akum. Alam tara ila alladhina nafaqu. Nafaqu, which bab is this? Yes, 3. Fa'ala. What is the masdar? Nafaqa. Nafaqa. Nifaqun. Nifaq, you know this word is known to you. Nifaqun. Munafaqatun can also be used, but that is less frequently used. But this is the word nifaqun. That is, as you know, historically, these are the people who were in Medina. When the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, they were a group of people who did not believe in the Prophet ﷺ, but they treated as if they were Muslims. They are the munafiqun. They showed themselves to be Muslims, but they were not Muslims. Abdullah ibn Ubay, Ubay ibn Salul, Habula. Those people, they are the munafiqun. Alladhina nafaqu. Alam tara ila alladhina nafaqu. Did you see those who were hypocrites, munafiqun? يَقُولُونَ لِإِخْوَانِهِمْ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, saying to their brothers who did not believe, who were disbelievers, min ahlil kitabi, from the people of the book. That is, some of them had believed, others had not believed. So these are the people who had not believed from the people of the book. إِخْوَانِهِمُ الَّذِينَ, Ikhwan here in the sense of associates, allies. إِخْوَانِهِمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَإِنْ أُخْرِجْتُمْ, we read this yesterday, لَإِنْ أُخْرِجْتُمْ, if you are deported from the city, لَنَخْرُجَنَّ مَعَكُمْ, we will also go out with you. وَلَا نُطِيعُ فِيكُمْ أَحَدًا أَبَدًا, and we will not obey anyone with regard to you, فِيكُمْ, with regard to you. We have seen this before also. With regard to you, we will not obey anyone ever, abadan. Abadan, as we have seen, is a word to emphasize the negative particle. In the future, in the past, what do we use? Qattu. Ma ra'aytuhu qattu, and never saw him. And in the future, we say, lan adhaba ilayhi abadan, I will never go there. So lan adhaba ilayhi, to him. So in future, abadan, in past, qattu. I think it's in the book. وَلَا نُطِيعُ فِيكُمْ أَحَدًا أَبَدًا وَإِن قُوتِلْتُمْ. Yesterday we did this, but I did not mention this to you. وَإِن قُوتِلْتُمْ, there is no lam here. وَلَئِن قُوتِلْتُمْ, وَلَئِن قُوتِلْتُمْ, if you are, if war is made against you. قَاتَلَ, which bab? Bab 3. قَاتَلَ يُقَاتِلُ, masdar, قِتَالٌ and مُقَاتَلَةٌ. قِتَالٌ and مُقَاتَلَةٌ. وَإِن قُوتِلْتُمْ, if war is made against you, لَنَنْصُرَنَّكُمْ, we will support you. Nasara, to help and to support. The meaning is to support, that is the word. In Indian subcontinent, I have seen many people using this word even for helping. Please help me. So, if you want to carry this table, they will say, ساعدني, ساعد, يساعد, مساعدة, ساعدني. But there you don't use unsurni. Nasara is to support someone in one's cause. وَإِن قُوتِلْتُمْ لَنَنْصُرَنَّكُمْ, لَنَنْصُرَنَّكُمْ, we will support you. If war is waged against you, we will support you. وَاللَّهُ يَشْهَدُ إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. وَاللَّهُ يَشْهَدُ, شَهِدَ يَشْهَدُ. Which bab is this? سَمِعَ يَسْمَعُ, شَهِدَ يَشْهَدُ, شَاهِدٌ, شَهَادَةٌ, مَصْدَرِ شَهَادَةٌ. Please note here, Wallahu yashhadu, Allah bears witness. And then we have innahum, not annahum. The usual, in the adhan we say ashhadu an la ilaha an. And you have read in the book that inna comes only after qala. Qala inni abdullah. After other verbs, we use anna. But here we have وَاللَّهُ يَشْهَدُ إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. The reason for this is that shahida yashhadu here has a double meaning of swearing. Allah swears, Allah swears, or takes an oath. Shahida. I had occasion to mention you the word at-tadmin. At-tadmin. This is a masdar of dhammana. This is a linguistic trick in where a word is given the meaning of another word. It takes two meanings. How do we know that? We know it from the next word, from the surrounding of this word, that it has. I told you, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, when we read the Surah Al-Rum, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Sakana does not take ila. But here, تَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, I told you it means لِتَمِيلُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you incline towards. So that is mean. It has been given another meaning. We have got many examples of that in the Qur'an. So here, yashhadu has got, in addition to its original meaning of to bear witness, another meaning which is to swear. And that is why swearing has to take inna. Wallahi inna. So, وَلْيَشْهَدُوا إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. Allah bears witness, or Allah swears, إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ, they are liars. And if you have anna, you can't have lam. Lam goes with what? Lam al-muzahalaqa with inna. For a'rifu annaka, there we can't say a'rifu annaka talibun, I know you are a student. Here you can't say a'rifu annaka la talibun, we can't say. So lam of it is part of inna. It is used with the khabar of inna. Because inna signifies emphasis, and lam also signifies emphasis. They do go together. So here you got this in Surah Al-Munafiqun also. You'll find yashhadu being used in this sense. In addition to bearing witness, swearing. Wallahu yashhadu innahum lakadhibun. So make a note of this. Yashhadu, you may ask, or somebody may ask you, why yashhadu inna and not anna? So here yashhadu has a meaning, additional meaning of swearing, and that is why the next word has inna with a kasra. Now we go back to ayah number 2. قَالَ رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. قَالَ 2 alif al-muthanna. قَالَ, they said. The pronoun refers to Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam. قَالَ رَبَّنَا. Rabbana is what? Munada. Munada mudaf. Munada mudaf. I say, Ya Rabbal Ka'bati. Rabbul Ka'bati, Rabbal Ka'bati. Imamuna, our Imam, you will say, Ya Imamana. Akhuna, how do you say Ya? Ya Akhana. Akhuna, Ya Akhana. Because akhu is marfu' and akhana, if it is mudaf, it takes alif. Ya akhana. Ya Aba Bakrin, Abu Bakrin, Ya Aba Bakrin. So mudaf, munada mudaf. Qala Rabbana zalamna anfusana. We have wronged ourselves. Zalamna, zalama yadlimu, zulmun. Zalamna anfusana. I'll come back to this word anfusana a little later. وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا. If you do not forgive us, وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا, and have mercy on us, لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, we will be among the losers, we will be the loser, we will be in loss. Now here, إِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا. Yes. لَتَكُونَنَّ does not go with a shart. You follow me? Yeah. So it must be لَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. So easily you can find out, because the khabar is here لَتَكُونَنَّ. If it were jawab of shart, it would be like this: وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا نَكُنْ. You follow me? Majzoom, it will be نَكُنْ من الخاسرين. إن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا نكون. نكون, and if it is majzoom, the waw will be lost because of iltiqa as-sakinain. You say nakun. So in lam taghfir lana wa tarhamna, if it is jawab al-shart, we say nakun min al-khasirin. But it is not like this. It is lanakunanna. So it is jawab al-Qasam. So in these three ayat, lam al-Muti'a lil-Qasam has been omitted, and there is clear indication in the jawab that the jawab belongs to al-Qasam and not to Khabar. Now there is a note about anfusana. Qala rabbana zalamna. Zalamna, how many people are involved? 2. And you have anfusana. Nafsun is self, and the 2 will be nafsani, and plural is anfusun. So the point here is there are 2, but the plural anfus has been used. Now that's the correct way of using this. I'll explain to you in a little detail. For example, غسل الرجل وجهه. The man washed his face. غسل الرجل وجهه. Now let us make it مثنى. غسل, of course, remains as it is. غسل الرجلان. غسل الرجلان. You will say وجوههما. وجوههما. We won't say غسل الرجلان وجهيهما. وجهيهما. One would expect to say وجهيهما. When do we say this? When we know that there is only one thing that we are talking about. You know what I mean? Face, only one face. You know what I mean? Yes. But we won't say, for example, with regard to son, Ja'al Rajulani bi abna'ihima. If it is only one son, each one came with a son, because we don't know, he may have more sons. So with regard to head, face, and chest, things we all know, nafs, that it is only one, and there is no ambiguity. The correct way is to use the plural. Correct way is to use the plural. I'll give another example from the Qur'an. In Surah Tahrim, in Tatuba faqad sagat qulubukuma. In Tatuba faqad sagat qulubukuma. You read in Surah Tahrim to why was the Prophet, there was some quarrel, So Allah says, in tatuba, if you repent, both of you. The jawab is faqad sagat qulubukuma. Actually the meaning is in tatuba, if you repent, it is better. It is better. Fahuwa ahsanu. It is better. Faqad sagat qulubukuma. Your hearts have deviated. Saga, sin, ghain, ya. Sagat. فقد صغت قلوبكما قلوبكما not قلبكما plural. That is the correct way of saying. There is another ayah, السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما. The thief, male and female, السارق سارق يسرق, you know this word. سارق السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا, cut, chop off. أيديهما, their hands, not all the hands, only one hand goes. So yadun, two. They should have yadayhima, but as I told you, according to this rule, use a plural. Aydiyahuma, it means only one hand from each of these two.
The meaning of sagat.
Saga, as I told you, to deviate. Your hearts have deviated from the right path. Faqad sagat qulubukuma. These fine points you may not find in textbooks, yes. So please note this. قَالَ رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا. So please here note this is Quranic, not only Quranic, but that is the correct way. It should be plural, but when there is ambiguity, you have to use the mathanna. In words which may have ambiguity, but here, qalb, everyone has only one qalb. Head, only one, everybody has one head. Indian gods have many. قال ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. Yes. We go back to the ayah after that. Yesterday we read لمن تبع. You remember this ayah? لمن تبعك منهم لأملأن جهنم منكم أجمعين. In page, second page, Laman, I told you, this lam is lam al-muti al-Qasam. Man, shartiyya. With lam al-muti al-Qasam. Laman tabi'aka minhum la'amla'anna jahannama minkum ajma'in. That is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to the Satan, addresses the Satan, he says, Laman tabi'aka, he who follows you, minhum, from them, la'amla'anna jahannama, I will fill the hell, minkum, fill the heavens with you, all of you, all together. So minkum is the devil and those who follow. So laman, lam, this lam al-muti al-Qasam, please note. And here we have another ayah, وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ. وَلَمَنْ, this is also lam al-muti al-Qasam. وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ. Whoever has patience and forgives his brothers, fellow Muslims. Whoever got sabara wa ghafar. If wrong is done to him, he has patience and then forgives his enemy. Allah says, وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ لَمِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. That is actually really a matter which requires determination. La azm al-umur, a matter requiring determination. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extols this act. وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ. So you got lamin secondly. First we have got walaman. So man, shartiya with a lam, al-muta al-Qasam, and inna dhalika lamin. This is lam, al-lam al-muzahalaqa. Yes. Min azmi al-umur, acts that require determination. The ayah after that, we will come to that later. It is not connected with qasam. The word here in these three ayahs, I wanted to mention to you that the word aqsama, in the Qur'an we have la uqsimu, we read in the final 8th lesson, la uqsimu, yes, bihadha al-balad. Aqsama, la uqsimu, this is mudari, aqsama yuqsimu. In the Quran, the past tense aqsama is also used. Yuqsim, uqsimu, yuqsimu, mudari is also used. Here we have an example of wa aqsamu, past tense. Idh aqsamu. The whole ayah is inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannah. I will write the ayah. It's better to understand the whole ayah. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannati. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannati. This is in Surah al-Qalam. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannati. Idh balawna, bala yablu. What is bala means? To test. Yes. Test by tribulation. So bala yablu. We also have bab iftala, ibtala yabtali. Bab 8, ibtala yabtali. But bala is the fi'l thulath al-mujarrad, bala yablu. Wala nabluwannakum. In the Quran, wala nabluwannakum, will test you. Inna balawnahum, we tested them, that is the people of Mecca, the unbelievers of Mecca. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannah. As we tested the people of the garden. This is not paradise here. Jannah. There was a garden, people who owned a garden, then they went in and they wanted to have harvest without anybody knowing that they are harvesting, so that they have not to share it with the poor, and then the whole thing was burned down, something. So inna balawnahum kama balawna. Kama, this ma is what? Ma al-masdariya. Kama balawna, as we have told in the book, uktub kama yaktub al-mudarris. Right, as a teacher writes. That means uktub ka kitabat al-mudarris. Right, like the teacher's writing. So kama yaktubu with ma and the next word, it's meaning of masdar. Inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannah. Ashaba maf'ul bihi, plural, the object of balawna. Balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannati, garden. Idh. What is idh here? What is it? Maf'ul fihi, zarf. We have seen that. Idh, when. it is used with the past tense, with the Madi. When? I think we've done in the one of the lessons here. إِذْ أَقْسَمُوا, when they swore, أَقْسَمُوا. إِذْ أَقْسَمُوا لَيَصْرِمُنَّهَا مُصْبِحِينَ. إِذْ أَقْسَمُوا, they swore. Now this is Jawab al-Qasam. لَيَصْرِمُنَّهَا. صَرَمَ يَصْرِمُ. صَرَمَ يَصْرِمُ. صَرَمَ يَصْرِمُ is to harvest, to cut the harvest, to cut the plant for harvesting. Sarama yasrimu. Which bab is this? Daraba yadru. Sarama yasrimu. Sarama yasrimu. Yasrimunnaha. إذ أقسموا ليصرمنها مصبحين. ليصرمنها. The pronoun refers to Jannah. La yasrimunnaha, the garden. They will harvest the plant in the garden, the produce in the garden. La yasrimunnaha musbihin. What is the Arab of musbihin? Yes, what is the Arab? Hal. So yasrimunnaha musbihin. Hal. When they are in the morning. Asbaha yusbihu. Ismul fa'il musbih. This is asbaha tam verb tam. It's not the naqis which takes ism and khabar. It is the tam which takes fa'il. Asbaha, asbahtu. I entered the morning. I spent the morning. Yusbih musbihin. When they enter the morning. That is they said we will harvest the produce in the morning so that nobody knows, and they wanted to deprive the poor of the share. إذ أقسموا إنا بلوناهم كما بلونا أصحاب الجنة إذ أقسموا ليصرمنها مصبحين. Now this is Aqsama, Bab 4. It is also used in Bab 3, Qasama. Qasama means two people, as we know, Bab Fa'ala, there is reciprocal action. Reciprocal action. Katabtuhu. I wrote to him, he wrote to me. Corresponded, we corresponded. Nahnu nukatib. Nahnu nukatib, we write to each other. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا. So he offered an oath to them. Huma refers to Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا. That is, he told them, swearing. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا. Inni lakuma laminan nasihin. I am a well-wisher to you. One of the well-wishers. Nasaha yansahu. Ba'fa'ala yaf'alu. Nasaha yansahu. Nasihun. Inni lakuma. I am to you laminan nasihin. Here you have inna and lam al-muzahalaqa. Inni lakuma laminan nasihin. Nasihin. Nasaha. Nasahtu. Please note that nasaha, you can say nasahtuhu. I advised him. Or you can say nasahtu lahu. Nasahtu lahu. This is more frequently used in the Qur'an. It is always, I think, nasahtu lahu. Here also, inna lakuma min al-nasihin. So nasahtu lahu means I gave him an advice. So nasih means well-wisher, one who tries to help by giving him the correct opinion about a matter. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. You can also use taqasama. Taqasama is also reciprocal. Like ta'awana, to cooperate. Cooperate, that is, you help him and he helps you. But the difference between fa'ala and tafa'ala, and fa'ala takes object. Like safaha, to shake hand. Safahtu bilalan, I shook hand with Bilal. Safahtu bilalan. But tasafaha, the two subjects, two fa'il. There is more than one fa'il. But there is no object. Tasafaha an-nasu, people shook hands. Tasafaha an-nasu. It is intransitive. It doesn't take maf'ul bihi. But if you say safaha, it takes maf'ul. You say safahtu Muhammadan. Safahtu dhaifa, I shook hand with the guest. You know what I mean? But tasafahna, we shook hands, yes. It doesn't need maf'ul bihi. So taqasama wa qalu taqasamu billahi لنبيتنه وأهله ثم لنقولن لوليه ما شهدنا مهلك أهله وإنا لصادقون. This is about Salih alayhi salam, the Prophet Salih, Thamud Salih, who lived in Madain. Even today we have this place where this nation lived. Madain Salih, it's called Madain Salih. Medina, plural Madain. Madain Salih, where you have these rocks with houses made, hewn out of the huge rocks. Even today they are preserved. No, in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Al-Ula, there is a small town called Al-Ula. It's near this, outside this town, Al-Ula. Madain Salih. But in Jordan they have Petra. It looks like that. It's also. وَقَالُوا تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ. They said, make an oath, take an oath. تَقَاسَمُوا. This is Amr. تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ. When Allah's name, after they believed in Allah, تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ. All of you take an oath in Allah's name. What for? لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ وَأَهْلَهُ. Bayyata. Bayyata, which bab is this? Bayyata. Form 2, bayyata, yubayyitu. Bayyata, yubayyitu. Yes. Bayyata, bata, we have bata. It is connected with the word bait. Bata yabitu. This is one of the sisters of Kana. One of the, please know, this is in the Qur'an, used many times. Bata, one of the sisters of Kana. We have learned asbaha to become in the morning. Amsa, to become in the evening. Bata means to become at night. To become at night. So it takes ism and khabar, just like kana, just like asbaha. We say asbaha Muhammadun maridan. He was sick in the morning. Amsa Bilalun nashitan. Bilal became active in the evening. Bata Bilalun maridan. He was at night, he was sick at night. Bilal spent the night as a sick man. So Bata Bilalun maridan. First person I, how do you say? Bittu. Yeah. Bittu fil masjidi. I spent the night in the mosque. Bittu fil masjidi. Bittu. Bata. Yabitu. In Surah Al-Furqan. Yes? يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا. Sajidun plural, sujjadun. So they spend the night in sajda. وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا, and standing. Qaim plural qiyam, sajid, sujjadun. So they spend the night standing and performing sajda. So Bata, please remember, it is one of the sisters of Kana. It is one of the series of this Asbaha series. Asbaha, Amsa in the evening, and Walla. Walla is during the day. Walla yawallu. That is Bab Fa'ila yaf'al. Walla yawallu. You say, for example, ظَلَّ الْجَوُّ حَارًّا. ظَلَّ الْجَوُّ حَارًّا. The weather was hot during the day. During the day, not on the morning. ظَلَّ الْجَوُّ حَارًّا الْيَوْمِ. Today, the weather was hot during the day. وَبَاتَ الْجَوُّ بَارِدًا. وَبَاتَ الْجَوُّ بَارِدًا. The weather was cold at night. So, ظَلَّ during the day and Bata during the night. Asbaha during the morning and Amsa during the evening. So these are all connected with time bound. So we say قالوا تقاسموا بالله لنبيتنه. Bayyata, Bata is the mujarrad. Bayyata bafa'ala. Bayyata means to attack at night. To attack at night. Attacking at night is easier, I believe. لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. They قالوا تقاسموا. Take an oath altogether. Billahi, in the name of Allah, لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. We will attack him at night. لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. This is Salih alayhi salam. لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. لُبَيِّتَنَّهُ وَأَهْلَهُ, and his family, not him alone. ثُمَّ لَنَقُولَنَّ. And then we will say لِوَلِيِّهِ, to the next of kin, waliyun. ثُمَّ لَنَقُولَنَّ. I can easily to tell the next of kin, مَا شَهِدْنَا مَهْلِكَ أَهْلِهِ. مَا شَهِدْنَا مَهْلِكَ. حَلَكَ يَهْلِكُ. And mahlik is masdar mimi. Masdar mimi. That is the destruction. Halaka yahliku. Ma shahidna. Here shahidna means what? We did not witness, we did not see. Ma shahidna mahlika ahlihi. We did not see the destruction of his family. He and his family, of course. Wa inna la sadiqun. And verily we are truthful. We are telling the truth. We did not notice when he died and who killed him. We didn't know. So we can easily, at night, nobody will notice us and we can go away with him and tell the people that we did not. So, وَقَالُوا تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ. تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. We will kill him at night. وَأَهْلَهُ, and his people and his household. ثُمَّ لَنَقُولَنَّ لِوَلِيِّهِ. And then we tell his next of kin, مَا شَهِدْنَا مَهْلِكَ أَهْلِهِ. Mahlik, please remember, this is masdar mimi. halaka yahliku mahlik ahlihi. Wa inna la sadiqun. And we are telling the truth. So these three forms, aqsama, qasama, taqasama, all are used in the Quran. And the most frequently used is aqsama, fourth. Aqsama used in past tense also mudari and also mudari. La uqsimu billahi, la uqsimu. Number of surahs start with la uqsimu biyawm al-qiyamah, la uqsimu. The masdar is qasam. Masdar is qasamun. And as I told you also, yaminun, plural aymanun. It's also another important word used in the Qur'an. Aqsamu jahda aymanihim. They swore their strongest oaths. Another word used in the Qur'an which I have not mentioned is halafa yahlifu. This also means to swear. Halafa yahlifu. Yes, to hilf. Hilf means swearing, and also it means a pact, because in pact you agree to do something with a swearing. Hilf natu. Hilf natu. What does it mean? NATO pact. Hilf natu. Hilf is a pact. We have finished with this, and alhamdulillah, most of the things that are connected with qasam we have done. It's a very important grammatical element, and I don't think there are the grammatical books, grammar books deal in such detail with all the details that I have mentioned. So please remember this, because it's a very important thing in the Qur'an. There are lots and lots of examples of al-Qasam and Jawab al-Qasam, Lam al-Muti al-Qasam, and the omission of this Lam. Always, inshallah, you will help you to understand the Quran better, inshallah. Now, there are a couple of grammatical elements which I have not mentioned in the book, but which are important for you to know. I'll mention them. Beg your pardon? Yes. Yes. وَيَسْتَنْبِئُونَكَ أَحَقٌّ هُوَ. That one. There is no qasam here, but I wanted to tell you this for some other reason. No, there is qasam. Here, وَيَسْتَنْبِئُونَكَ. يَسْتَنْبِئُونَكَ. What verb is this? 10th. Istamba'a yastambi'u. What is the basic word? Naba'un is news. Yes. News. Naba'un. Amba'un. Plural of naba'un is amba'un. Suratun naba. Amma yatasa'alun anil naba'il azim. Anil naba'il azim. Naba is news. Istamba'a, as you know, istaf'ala, bab 10th, means to seek information, to seek something. So it is istamba'a means sought information. Sought information. There's another word, ista'lama. This is a word used in Arab countries nowadays. Ista'lama. From what? Alima. Alima ya'lamu, to know. Ista'lama, to seek knowledge. Ista'lama, seek information. You'll find both isti'lam. Isti'lamat, plural isti'lamat, means information, where you can go and ask the man sitting there about what you want to know, where to go and where to what to write. Isti'lam. Isti'lamat also is usually it's written in plural. Isti'lamat. Isti'lamat. Masdar of ista'lama. Isti'lamat. So istamba'a has the same meaning, to seek information. Yastambi'unaka ahaqqun huwa. They seek information, they ask you, ahaqqun huwa, is it truth? Is it truth? Is it the truth? Or is it true? Ahaqqun huwa. Ahaqqun huwa. Where is the mubtada? Huwa. Ahaqqun huwa. Qul I wa rabbi. Now I just want to tell you this E comes before Qasam. Yes, by my Lord. It is a word used only with Qasam. It comes before the Qasam. It's only one ayah where the word E has been used, but it has an importance which I will tell you a little later, inshallah.
Very strong Qasam.
Yes, a strong Qasam. Qul I wa rabbi. Yes, by my Lord. Innahu lahaqqun. It is the truth. It is true. وَيَسْتَنْبِئُونَكَ أَحَقٌّ هُوَ قُلْ إِي وَرَبِّي إِي وَرَبِّي إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ. This is Jawab al-Qasam, Inna and Lam al-Muzahlaqa. وَيَسْتَنْبِئُونَكَ أَحَقٌّ هُوَ قُلْ إِي وَرَبِّي. This word I wa rabbi, or you can say, for example, I wallahi. I wallahi, I wa rabbi. So it goes before Qasam. It is used with the Qasam. It comes before the Qasam.
Dots, yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Under, yeah, there should be dots and support.
You see, as I told you, dhabt, there are different systems of dhabt. In India, in Indian subcontinent, the long vowels have sukoon. Qu will have waw have sukoon. Fi, ya will have sukoon. But in the Arab system, no. As I told you, there are different systems of dhabt. So the other system, we don't write on the vowels, long vowels, no sukoon.
Actually, it is, yeah.
It is sakin, but if you write ya sukoon, it will be big. With a ya, big. You follow me? If you say ba kasra ta bit, ba kasra kaf bik, ba kasra ya should be big. No. It's not pronounced like this. B is lengthening of the kasra. So they don't write it. Akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. We'll continue it in a few. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, last session I was explaining to you the word E wa Rabbi. I shall complete this explanation, inshallah. You can say either E wa Rabbi or E Wallahi. The word E is a particle with strengthening the Qasam. Now, this is a very interesting thing about this. If you note this, if you pronounce E plus Wa and do not mention the name of Allah. For example, here, E, stop there, E, Wa. This is the word which the Arabs in the dialects use for yes, Na'am. Most Arabs use Aywa with Fatha. But in the countryside, especially in Egypt, they say Iwa. Iwa, which is actually E Wallahi. Probably they did not mention the name of Allah for respect. They dropped it and they said Iwa. The word for yes, in almost all the Arab countries, dialects, they say Iwa or Aiwa. In the cities, they say Aiwa. In the countryside, they say Iwa. And the countryside pronunciation is the correct one. Long back, Zamakhshari has mentioned Zamakhshari. Have you heard of the name Zamakhshari?
Yes.
Jarullah Zamakhshari. Zamakhshari, his name was Jarullah. Jarullah is Zamakhshari. Zamakhshar is the place where he was born. It's in the Central Asia. So he lived in Mecca and he was a great Arabic scholar and also a mufassir. His tafsir is called al-Kashaf. Al-Kashafu. But he was a Mu'tazili, that is a philosophical movement that looked at everything with a rational point of view, and they rejected many of the things that we believe. So he was a Mu'tazili. So his name al-Kashaf. Kashaf is a book of tafsir. It's a small book, tafsir, but yes. Iqbal has a couplet, those who know Urdu. He says, Tere zamir pe jab tak na ho nuzul kitab. As long as the Quran is not revealed to your heart, yourself. Tere zamir pe jab tak na ho nuzul kitab. Girah kusha hai na razi na sahib kasha. Razi, also a famous mufassir, very voluminous tafsir has written. So, Grah Kusha, he is not able to help you to understand. Grah Kusha hai na razi na sahib kashaf. Yes. Okay, we have finished this, and I wanted to explain to you certain grammatical elements that we have not done in the book. I have 4 elements here. I don't know how many times we have, how much time we have. One is al-idafa al-lafziyya. الإضافة اللفظية. الإضافة اللفظية. الإضافة اللفظية. Al-Idafa, which we have learned, for example, Kitabul Mudarrisi is Mudaf Mudaf ilayh, and this construction is called Al-Idafa. Yadu al-Tifli, the hand of the child. Kitabullahi, Allah's book, is called Idafa. So Idafa is of two kinds. The Idafa that you have learned before, that's called al-Idafa al-Ma'nawiyya. Al-Idafa al-Ma'nawiyya. Al-Idafa al-Ma'nawiyya. Al-Idafatu al-Ma'nawiyyatu. Ma'nawiyya is from ma'na, meaning. So that is based on meaning. Kitab al-Waladi, it denotes something is possessed by the child, the thing possessed and the possessor. Al-Idafatu al-Lafziyya is only in the formal, it is not real. It looks like Idafa because you have the same construction, but it is not Idafa in the real sense. So it is called Idafa al-Lafziyya, and only in word, not in the meaning, not in the sense, not in the substance. It's only in the construction. In Idafa al-Ma'nawiyya, Mudaf can be anything, Mudaf ilayh can be anything. There is no restriction. Any word you think of as a possessor and the thing possessed, you can put them together and there is no restriction. But in the al-Idafa al-Lafziyya, there are restrictions. Al-Idafa al-Lafziyya should be, in the Idafa al-Lafziyya, the Mudaf should be Ism al-Fa'il or Ism al-Maf'ul. Ism al-Fa'il and Maf'ul, there is something called Sifat al-Mushabbah. It is also like Ism al-Fa'il. I don't want to go into the details of that, but it's what looks like a Ism al-Fa'il. For example, and yes, this is al-Mudaf should be Ism al-Fa'il, Ism al-Maf'ul, and al-Mudaf ilayh should be Ism marfu'. The marfu' means either fa'il. If it is ismul fa'il, it will be fa'il, and ism maf'ul, it is be na'ibul fa'il. I will just explain to you. If I say kathirul kalami, Kathirul Kalam looks like Mudaf Mudaf ilayh. But Kathir is like Ismul Fa'il, and Al-Kalami is its Fa'il. Because if you say Kathura Kalamuhu, Kathura Kalamuhu, his talk was much. He talked much. Kathura kala muhu. This is fa'il of kathura. Kathura kalamuhu. He talked much. His talk was long. Kathura kalamuhu. So when I say kathirul kalami, al-kalam is mudaf ilayh, majroor, but it's actually, in the sense, it's fa'il. You follow me? So here, kathirul kalami, we say, ja'ani rajulun. Rajulun. And kathirul kalami. Kathir. What is the Arab of kathir in this sentence? Huh? Rajulun kathirul kalami. Na'at. Please remember this, something new. So kathir is mudaf, but yet it is nakira. It's nakira. So in al-idafa al-lafziyya, al-mudaf is not ma'rifah. Kathirul kalami, because it is not like kitabul waladi, possesses something the child possesses. What I mean? Sayyaratul tajiri, the merchant's car, he possesses it. It's not like that. Kathirul kalami means much, a talkative man, talkative. So kathirul kalam. Kathir is nakira. You follow me? Raja'ani rajulun kathirul kalami. Now, be prepared for something more startling. Aina ar-rajulu. I want to put this here. But ar-rajulu here is ma'rifah. She will say, Aina ar-rajulu al-kathirul kalami. Al-kathirul kalami. It will take al. If you want to make it ma'rifah, you put alif lam, use alif lam, because without alif lam it is nakira. Aina ar-rajulu al-kathirul kalami. Aina ar-rajulu al-kathirul kalami. I'll give another example. Maqtu'ul yadi. Maqtu'ul what does it mean? Maqtu'ul yadi, a man with his hands cut. Maqtu'ul yadi. It looks like mudaf ilayh, but actually it doesn't have the meaning of mudaf ilayh as you have. Maqtu'ul yadi, one with a cut hand with his hand cut. Maqtu'ul yadi. I saw a man with his hand cut. How do you say? Ra'aytu rajulan. Ra'aytu rajulan maqtu'al yadi. Ra'aytu rajulan maqtu'al yadi. Nakira. Rajulan. Ra'aytu rajulan maqtu'al yadi. So here al-yad, what is it in construction? Here is majroor, but actually quti'at yaduhu. Quti'at yaduhu. Quti'at yaduhu, his hand was chopped off, cut. So this is maf'ul. Naibul fa'il. Naibul fa'il. Naibul fa'il. Naibul fa'il. Quti'at yaduhu, his hand was chopped off. Naibul fa'il. So مقطوع اليد is إضافة لفظية. إضافة لفظية. رأيت رجلا مقطوع اليد. And أين الرجل? How do you say? المقطوع اليد. Where is the man with the cut hand? You will say أين الرجل المقطوع اليد.
So the whole word would be the noun, or just kathir will be the noun?
The kathir only.
Only kathir.
Yes, that is mudaf ilayh.
And noun is mudaf ilayh.
It'll take a little time till it you can understand. But you know, al-mudaf al-ma'nawiyya, idaf al-ma'nawiyya, it's very clear. There's you don't have a small file, and the mudaf ilayh is not connected with it as a file or as naib al-fa'il. We have in grammatical terms i'talla. In verbs we have seen al-fi'l al-mu'tal, al-fi'l al-mu'tal, a verb with waw, alif, ya, waw, ya as the radical, like wazana yazidu, waqafa yaqifu, this is mu'tallul fa. Ajwaf, qala yaqulu, nama yanamu, this is also mu'tal. Baka yabki, this is also mu'tal, mu'tal al-ain, mu'tal al-lam. So the verb is i'talla. Which verb is this? 8. i'talla. Ifta'ala. i'talla. i'talla means to be sick. So this verb is sick. Sick of head. Mu'tallul fa, mu'tallul ain, mu'tallul lam. Yeah, sick in his head. Sick in the first letter, second in the second letter. Week of first, week of second. The Europeans say the week of first, week of second, week of third. You know what I mean? That is, fa is first, ain is second, lam is third. So week of first, week of second, week of third. Or week of fa, week of ain, week of lam. So we say i'talla, ismul fa'il mu'tallun. Mu'tallun. That is ismul fa'il. Mu'tallun. La, mu'tallun. Because it is mushaddad. Lam is like a mu'talilun. It is actually mu'talilun. The first lam. Yes. Mu'tallun. Now look here. Mu'tallul fa'i. Like wazana yazinu waqafa yaqifu, you call it mu'tallul fa'. What does it mean? I'tallat fa'uhu. I'tallat fa'uhu. Its fa is sick. I'tallat fa'uhu. This is fa'il of this. معتل الفاء. So say وزن يزن معتل الفاء. مبتدا خبر. وزن يزن معتل الفاء. It's nakira. If I tell you اكتب فعلا معتل الفاء, write a verb which is معتل الفاء. اكتب فعلا نكرة معتل الفاء. أعطني give me فعلا معتل الفاء نكرة. But if we say الفعل with alif lam, الفعل المعتل الفاء, add al. If you want to make it in ma'rifa, add al. الفعل المعتل الفاء. الفعل المعتل الفاء. الفعل المعتل العين. الفعل المعتل اللام.
So now what the i'rab of al-fa'i?
مضاف إليه. مضاف إليه مجرور.
And
مضاف. It takes al because it is لفظية. In إضافة لفظية, the rules that apply to إضافة المعنوية don't apply here. So إضافة لفظية is a class by itself. المعتل الفاء كثير الكلام جاءني in the Qur'an هديا بالغ الكعبة نكرة هديا بالغ الكعبة. So just remember now, inshallah, it's not difficult. It's not like Kitabul Waladi. It's not like Baytullahi, Sayyaratul Mudarrisi. They are not connected with one another except after they become Mudaf and Mudaf ilayh. But here, the second is the fa'il of the first. Kathirul kalam means kathra kalamuhu. Mu'tallul fa'i means i'tallat fa'uhu. Follow me? Okay, next. النعت الحقيقي النعت السببي. إضافة, two kinds we have just seen, and now we see نعت. النعت الحقيقي النعت السببي. السببي سببي. النعت الحقيقي النعت السببي. النعت الحقيقي, that is the one you have already learned. كتاب كبير, بيت جديد, سيارة جميلة. The na'at in النعت الحقيقي agrees with the man'ut in four things. What are the four things? Number, gender. Yes, number, gender, case, and definiteness, indefiniteness. case, and 3, 4, definite. Definiteness and otherwise. So if the man'oot is singular, the na'at should be singular. If dual, it should be dual. If plural, it should be plural. Kitabun jadidun, kitabani jadidani, kutubun jadidatun. Rajulun tawilun, rajulani tawilani, rijalun tiwalun. Plural. Waladun muslimun, waladani muslimani, awladun muslimuna. Feminine, bintun muslimatun, ukhtun muslimatun, ukhtani muslimatani, akhawatun muslimatun. That is number and gender. Case, ja'ani waladun tawilun, ja'ani waladun tawilun, ra'aytu waladan tawilan, sallamtu ala waladin tawilin. So the na'at agrees with the man'oot in the case. If it is marfu', marfu', mansub, majroor, marfu', majroor, majroor. Definite, عندي كتاب مفيد. الكتاب المفيد في البيت. كتاب مفيد، الكتاب المفيد. Definite, indefinite. So the na'at agrees with the man'oot. Now, na'at al-sababi agrees only in the case. Only one thing, the case. For example, الطالب we say الطالب الناجح. It's simple. الطالب الناجح is النعت الحقيقي. Because الناجح refers to الطالب. But if we say الطالب الناجحة, can we say this? الطالب الناجحة? No? الطالب الناجحة أخته. الطالب الناجحة أخته. Did you get it? That means the student whose sister has passed. You know what I mean? So the na'at here doesn't belong to the man'oot, it belongs to somebody else. The fa'il of najih is ukht. الطالب الناجحة أخته. You can say this. الطالب الناجحة. أين الطالب الناجحة أخته. It's only in case it will agree with it. أين الطالب الناجحة أخته. رأيت الطالب الناجحة أخته. Why أخته مرفوع؟ فاعل. That means الطالب الذي نجحت أخته. الطالب الذي نجحت أخته. الطالب الناجح أخته. So in case إعراب, it will be within, with the منعوت. أين الطالب الناجحة أخته. رأيت الطالب الناجحة أخته. سلمت على الطالب الناجحة أخته. Only in case. It will always be singular because it is fa'il. What comes later is fa'il. And in fa'il, how do you say? Najaha Muhammadun, najaha Muhammadun wa akhuhu, najaha Muhammadun wa ikhwatuhu. Singular. In the Qur'an, Rabbana, I'll write Rabbana akhrijna. What is akhrijna? Take it out. Take us out. Akhrijna min al-qaryati. What is qarya? Village. Rabbana akhrijna min al-qaryati al-zalimi ahluha. من هذه القرية أهلها ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالم أهلها Allah, take us out from this village whose people are doing wrong. الظالمي, only in the Arab. ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالمي. أهلها is فاعل. ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالمي أهلها. This is called what? النعت السببي. The na'at does not belong to al-qaryah here. It belongs to ahl. But only in case. In Arab, it agrees. Another example. This is very common. You see, at-tullabu, masculine plural. Al-atiyatu. Can you say this? Al-atiyatu what? At-tullab al-atiyatu asma'uhum. What does it mean? The students whose names are coming below. At-tullab al-atiyatu asma'uhum. At-tullab al-atiyati asma'uhum najahu. The students whose names are coming have passed. At-tullab al-atiyatu آتية. الإعراب الطلاب منعوت آتية نعت مرفوع. And this أسماؤهم is the fa'il. So it has the force of الطلاب التي تأتي أسماؤهم. التي تأتي أسماؤهم. The students whose names are coming below. الطلاب الآتية أسماؤهم. النعت السببي. Another example. Al-kutub al-ati bayanuha. Al-kutub, feminine, plural. That is غير عاقل, irrational. Al-kutub, you must say atiyatu, no. Al-kutub al-ati bayanuha. The books whose description comes below. Al-Kutubul, Bayan is masculine, singular. As if you say Al-Kutub Allati Ya'ti Bayanuha. Al-Kutub Allati Ya'ti Bayanuha. Al-Kutub Al-Ati Bayanuha. It's very common when we write about names of students, names of books, we will write like this. Al-Kutub Al-Ati Bayanuha. Is it clear? So Al-Na'atu Sababi agrees with the Man'ud in only one thing. What is it? Case, I'rab. If it is marfu, it is marfu, mansub, majroor, majroor. But it is always singular. It is always singular because it is the fi'l, and what comes later is the fa'il. So we say Al-Tullab Al-Atiyatu Asma'uhum, Al-Kutub Al-Ati. You can say Al-Kutub Al-Atiyatu Asma'uha. Al-Atiyah, but it doesn't belong to that. Asma. Al-Kutub Al-Atiyati Asma'uha. Is it clear? Now this is ayah, please remember. ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالمين. أهلها معناه meaning is أخرجنا من هذه القرية التي يظلم أهلها. For example, another example I just remembered, السيارة الجميل. Yes, لونها. السيارة الجميل لونها. السيارة الجميل لونها. The car whose color is beautiful, not the car itself. السيارة الجميلة. If you say جميلة, Jamila belongs to the car. But here الجميل belongs to the color. السيارة الجميل لونها. I have one more point, not this one, finish this. المبتدأ الذي له فاعل. You know, المبتدأ الذي له خبر, that you have learned. Mubtada with a khabar. But Mubtada, there is a type of Mubtada which has fa'il. Yasuddu masadd al-khabar. All really strange things today. Akhuka musafirun. Mubtada and khabar. Is that clear? No problem. You can also say musafirun akhuka. Musafirun akhuka. Where is the mubtada here? Akhuka mubtada, musafirun khabar. No problem. But the problem starts when you say musafirun akhawaka. Musafirun akhawaka. Can this be Mubtada and Khabar? Let's think about it. Can it be Mubtada and Khabar? Khabar and Mubtada? No. Why? That is Mubtada. The other word is Akhawaka is Musanna. Musafirun is singular, Mufrad. So if you say Musafirani Akhawaka, there's no problem. Mubtada, Khabar and Mubtada. Musafirani Akhawaka. You can also say that, but you can also say Musafirun Akhawaka. Musafirun Akhawaka. The Prophet ﷺ, a man came to him and wanted to take part in jihad. So he said, Ahayyun Abawaka, Ahayyun Walidaka. I forget which word he used. Ahayyun. What does it mean? Are your parents alive? Ahayyun Walidaka. Musanna. Ahayyun Walidaka. So here, when you have, here it can be Mubtada and Khabar, but here it cannot be. So if you have Ism al-Fa'il, Ism al-Maf'ul, it should be Ism al-Fa'il or Ism al-Maf'ul. Mubtada should be Ism al-Fa'il or Ism al-Maf'ul. And the other word is not singular. It is either Musanna or Jama', plural. In that case, we say this is Mubtada and it's Fa'il. Sadda Masadda al-Khabar. It is Fa'il. As if you say, Ayusafiru Akhawaka? Ayusafiru Akhawaka? So we call this Fa'il, Mubtada, and this is its Fa'il. When there are two conditions. First, it should be Ism al-Fa'il or Ism al-Maf'ul. For example, Ism al-Maf'ul, Maqtulun al-Rijalu, Maqtulun al-Rijalu. Now this is singular and that is plural, Maqtulun al-Rijalu. So as if you want to say Qutila al-Rijalu, Qutila al-Rijalu, have the men been killed? If you say Maqtulun al-Rajulu, then it is Mubtada, Khabar and Mubtada. But if you say Maqtulun al-Rijalu, then it's Mubtada and Naib al-Fa'il. Naib al-Fa'il.
If it is Ism Maf'ul, then it's Naib al-Fa'il.
Yes.
And if it is Ism Fa'il,
It's Maf'ul and Naib al-Fa'il. So it should be either Ism al-Fa'il or Ism al-Maf'ul, and it's the word that comes after is either either Musanna or Jama'. If it is singular, it can be both. You say Maqtulun Sadiquka, because Alif Lam it's not very clear. Maqtulun Sadiquka, then you can say this is Mubtada and this is Khabar. You follow me? And you can also say this is Mubtada, this is Fa'il. Both are possible. Both are possible. But here, a musafir, if you say a maqtulun, asdiqa'uka, a maqtulun asdiqa'uka, in this case, it has to be Mubtada and Fa'il. It can't be Mubtada and Khabar, or Khabar and Mubtada. المبتدا الذي له فاعل سد ما سد الخبر. As you have seen here, in all these examples, there is Hamzatul Istifham in the beginning. Hamzatul istifham. It's usually in this type of mubtada, there should be either istifham or nafi. You can say ma musafirun ikhwati. Ma musafirun ikhwati. My brothers are not traveling. Ma musafirun ikhwati. Or a musafirun ikhwatuka. A musafirun ikhwatuka. So that's the usual construction. I'll give you a brief description of the school. In Arabic grammar, there are two schools. These schools flourished in two very important cities, ancient cities. One in Kufa, which is near Najaf and Kufa. Today this town is there, a small town. The other in Basra, you know, near the Gulf. Basra. These were the seats of Arabic grammar. So we call Kufa school and Basra school. In future, when you are reading grammar in detail, you will always come across these two expressions. The Kufis say, the Basris say. The head of the Basra school was Sibawayh. He was a Persian. I mentioned you on another occasion. He was a Persian and he wrote the book, famous book called Al-Kitab in 5 volumes. It is the constitution of grammar. It is the basic book of grammar, Al-Kitab. It is, we always go back to this book for guidance in grammar. The Kufa school was headed by Al-Farra. His name was Al-Farra. Sibawayh. His name is Mabni. Sibawayh. Al-Farra. Sibawayh al-Farra. Sibawayh was the head of the Basra school and al-Farra of Kufa school. They had differences of opinion on various matters of grammar. For example, Brother Asif was singing that Maldi and Amr are Mabniyan. That is according to Basra school. And Kufa school, Amr is Mu'arab. There's no problem, but they say it is Mu'arab. It was actually, when you say idhab, it was litadhab. Lam, Amr. You go litadhab with sukoon, and then they drop the lam and ta finally because of constant use. It became idhab. So say that it is mu'arab. And mu'arab, it is majzoom because of lam which has been omitted. They say it's not mubni. So they have many differences between themselves, and grammar books are full of these differences. I mentioned this is according to the Kufi school it is right, according to Basra school it is right. So according to the Basra school, you must have Hamza or Nafi. You must say Musafirun ikhwatuka, Musafirun Bilalun wa sadiquhu, Ma Musafirun Bilalun wa sadiquhu. Either istifham or Nafi. According to Kufa school, they say no. We have got examples from the poetry and from Arabic literature that Arabs have used it without either istifham or nafi, so we can use it. Then came a famous grammarian, Ibn Malik. Ibn Malik was from Spain. 601 Hijri he was born. But he migrated to Syria, and he died there, lived and died there. His grave is even today there. Ibn Malik. He wrote many books. The most famous book is Al-Alfiyya. That is in couplets. All the grammar rules are in couplets, 1,000 couplets. That is why we call it Al-Alfiyya. Al-Alfiyya, 1,000 couplets. Qala Muhammad ibn Maliki, it begins like that. He tried to reconcile these two schools. In many cases, though most of the people belong to the Basra school, all the grammar that we read is the Basra school grammar, but sometimes we take Kufa school opinions, their judgments with regard to some grammatical points. So Ibn Malik tried to reconcile these schools, and in Alfiya he says you can also say without istifham and وقد يجوز, he said وقد يجوز فائز أولو الرشد. You can say فائز أولو الرشد without istifham or nafi. So the time is up. I am sorry I could not finish the whole thing, but inshallah in a future session inshallah we'll do what we have learned. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, I stand here with a heavy heart. We had very interesting and useful days and nights for about a month, and alhamdulillah I was able to finish the book. And another very important good thing is that the lessons have been videotaped, and inshallah they will be available for future study inshallah. I was greatly encouraged by the interest shown by all of you, brothers and sisters, in learning Arabic, and I also could see the great efforts that had been put in by Brother Asif. So whenever I alluded to a grammatical point, the brothers and sisters were able to understand and to recognize the idea, and they gave me replies for all the things that I asked. That means they have a very good grounding, alhamdulillah, in Arabic grammar. When I mean Arabic grammar, when I say Arabic grammar, it is grammar which is mixed with the language, not grammar as a subject, which I hate. And that is not the proper way of teaching a language. It is only dead languages, I told you, Greek, Latin, Syriac, that teach grammar because they don't teach the language. These languages are dead, they are not used for any useful purposes, so they have to teach the grammar only. But Arabic is a living language, as I told you. It's a classical language in the sense, it's a very important thing, very important aspect of Arabic, that Arabic is a classical language and a living language. Classical language is a language which is old, which is ancient. Greek and Latin and European terminology are called classical languages. That is, old languages which are dead. Arabic is also classified as a classical language in these universities, but Arabic has another aspect. It's a living language. Even today it is spoken, and it's the language of millions of people every day in their cultural life, educational life. So it's a language, and above all, it is a language of Muslims everywhere. At least they read the Qur'an and understand to a certain extent. So it's the terminology should be used with a difference. It's not a classical language in the sense it is a dead language. Unfortunately, in India and Pakistan universities, Arabic is taught only as a dead language and grammar. In Arabic schools, seminaries in India and Pakistan, they teach only grammar. And I remember Sheikh Abul Hassan al-Nadwi, Allah Rahim, who was a great scholar who died on the last day of the previous century, 2000, last day of that century, previous century. He has somewhere said that one of the causes of the downfall of Muslim Ummah in these days is the study of Sharh al-Jami. Sharh al-Jami is a very detailed grammar book. So it's taught in all the Arabic seminaries in India and Pakistan. Probably nowadays only a very few dropouts or many who learn this book. Only a few will be able to do this. It's a very difficult book. So when I say Arabic grammar, you have learned Arabic grammar means learned Arabic grammar with the language. That is very important. We don't want to teach you, and you should refuse to learn only grammar. It should be language based on grammar, which is the basis of the language, and especially the language of the glorious Qur'an. As I mentioned before, our interest in Arabic is because it is the language of the Qur'an and is the language of the Islamic sciences. So our concern should be first and foremost to understand the Qur'an, to understand the Islamic sciences, and as a byproduct, if we are able to use it for our worldly purposes, well and good. But as I told you, our niyyah should be to understand the Qur'an. That should be our primary aim in any effort to learn the language, learn the Arabic language. You have learned, alhamdulillah, and you have to keep it up. Any language, if you don't use it, you may forget. As it happens, many students learn Arabic, Persian during their school days, college days, and finally they don't have an opportunity to use these languages and they forget. So please keep it up, continue to have your contact with Arabic. Nowadays you have these DVDs. You can, inshallah, have constant contact with the language. There are certain books that I'll mention which will help you to understand the language of the Quran. Probably Brother Asif must have told you about the word-to-word translation of the Quran by Muhammad Ali. That's a very useful book because it breaks the ayah into small parts and gives the translation of each part so that you know every word and its translation. It's not translation summary, no, it's every word you understand. And in addition to that, he has got grammatical analysis in the margin. He mentions why it is mansoob, why it is majroor, and also mentions the original form of the verb. If it is muttaqoon, he says it is from waqa'iqi, it is bab 8, all that he mentions is very useful, and you will learn a great deal from this book. Another book is a dictionary of the Qur'an. It is by Abdullah Abbas and Nadwi. I saw it in the bookshop. Its name in Arabic is Mu'jam Alfaz al-Qur'an. Mu'jam Alfaz al-Qur'an. It's a small book, but it contains all the words that are used in the glorious Qur'an with English translation. He also gives the different many information about the word. It is past tense, present tense, madi, mudara, amr, ism al-fa'il. All that information are given in that book. There is another book. Its name is Silkul Bayan fi Manaqib al-Qur'an. You should not be taken away by the Arabic name it has. It's in English. The author is one European. His name is John Penrice. It's also available here. John Penrice. Silkul Bayan fi Manaqib al-Qur'an. It is also a dictionary of the words used in the Qur'an and explained in English. In the preface, because he was a Christian, he has certain remarks which are not acceptable to Muslims, but I did not find anything in the dictionary, so the dictionary can be safely used to know the meaning of the words. He writes the basic form of the word, for example, kataba, and then he writes A-O-R, I think, A-O-R, which is short for aorist. Aorist in Latin means mudara. He writes A-O-R, which is for aorist, and then writes O next to that. That means the mudara, the vowel of the vowel of the ain in mudara is O. O means you. Sometimes he write I. Sami'a, he will write I or A. So you find out the bab. It's very important to find out the bab. Sometimes the bab, a word has two babs. In each bab it has a different meaning. So we should be very careful to find out and learn the bab. So these are three books I have mentioned. One is Bahar Ali's book. The other is Abbas Nadwi's Mu'jam Alfaz al-Qur'an. The third is Silk al-Bayan. Okay. If you want dictionaries, not only for Quran but for ordinary Arabic, then of course Hans Wehr is very good. He gives Madi Mudara. He also writes the letters, Kataba, and then he doesn't write aorist, he just writes you, yaktubu. And then he gives Masdar. It's very important, Masdar. He gives Masdar but in Latin letters. And then if it is verb, he'll give you only, first of all, the meaning of the word mujarrad, and then he will go on to give the mazid. Number 2 means bab fa'ala, number 3 is bab fa'ala, like that. He has of course explained, and all of you know the numbers of the various babs. If it is a noun, he will write second declension. Second declension means mamnu min as-sarf. Second declension. And when he finishes with the verb, he comes up with the derivatives, nouns. For example, kataba yaktubu, and then he will kitab, maktab, all that. So it's a good dictionary. It's based on modern Arabic. Based on modern Arabic. If you want to find out the meanings of, especially now words that are special to Qur'an, Kataba, for example, you will find out. But there is a word Kataba, for example. Kataba in modern Arabic is to correspond. But in the Quranic Arabic, Kataba has a different meaning. That you will not find. It is not meant for. But in rice you will find Kataba. What does it mean? That is the contract that a slave gets into with his master to buy his freedom, to purchase his freedom. He will say within a period of 2 years, 3 years, whatever period they agree to, I will pay you, or I will serve you for such a period, I will pay you such an amount of money. That is mukataba. فَكَاتِبُوهُمْ in Surah Al-Nur, فَكَاتِبُوهُمْ. So that you will not find. But you will find in Penrice, you will find in Abbas Nadwi's dictionary, the words, the meanings that are specially used in the Qur'an, and the forms, certain forms may not be found in modern Arabic, but they are found in the Quranic Arabic. All that you will find in these 3 books. There is a Arabic book, a small book. It is called al-Misbah al-Munir. Al-Misbah al-Munir. Al-Misbah al-Munir, that is bright lamp. The author is Fayyumi, Al-Fayyumi. Al-Fayyumi. If you want to write, I will. Al-Fayyumi, Al-Misbah al-Munir. Al-Misbah al-Munir by Al-Fayyumi. It's a small dictionary. It's very useful. It does not contain all the words, selected words. Al-Misbah al-Munir. Al-Misbah al-Munir lil-Fayyumi. You know the lam is used for by the author. You say Al-Misbah al-Munir lil-Fayyumi. This dictionary, the speciality of this dictionary is that it mentions the bab. Other modern dictionaries mention the bab, but they write fatha, dhamma, kasra, the print fatha, dhamma, kasra. But here that may lead to mistakes also, because printing mistakes, instead of fatha you can put kasra. He doesn't do that. In Fayyumi he says bab kada, bab nasara, bab fataha. So you can't make a mistake there, because he mentions the basic words which are used to determine the abwab. He is very particular about abwab. You will not find this in other dictionaries. And also singular and plural of nouns. He is very particular about it, very correct whenever he mentions plurals of nouns, and bab of verbs. For of course that is a dictionary of ancient time. You will not find words that are used in modern Arabic. If you want modern Arabic, of course you have Hans Wehr. Hans Wehr gives modern words belonging to modern Arabic. Words like electricity, like telephone, and all that you will find. A dictionary in Arabic is al-Mu'jam al-Wasit. Al-Mu'jam al-Wasit. Wasit means what? Medium. Al-Mu'jam is a dictionary. It's not very large dictionary, it's not very small, but it's medium. al-Mu'jam al-Wasit. It's one of the publications of the Arab Academy of Egypt. There are academies. One of them is in Egypt, so it is a publication of the Arab Academy, Arabic Language Academy in Egypt. It doesn't have one author, it's a group of people. It's also, I think, available. Do you have this? Yes. Al-Mu'jam al-Wasit. Of course, those who they're learning the language may not be able to understand much from these, but in future you will inshallah be able to understand both these books. But at present you may go in for these English the three books that I have mentioned first. They will help you a lot. Moralist translation and Abbas Nadwi's Mu'jam Alfaz al-Qur'an and Penrice. Reading will help inshallah. I would suggest, of course, along with the Qur'an, the translation of Sahih al-Bukhari, because the language of the Qur'an is inimitable. But the language of hadith, you can make use of it in your daily life, because there are a lot of expressions that can be useful in daily life. So it's doubly because it is also a book of hadith, and also you will benefit from the linguistic point of view. You have Mohsin Khan's translation, Hilali and Khan, translation by Hilali and Khan in 9 volumes. It has been published by various publishers, Darus Salam, for example. So it is, this text of the hadith is on the right and the translation on the left. It's a simple translation, and you will inshallah benefit from this. There is also a book, a collection of hadith, the Riyadh al-Salihin. I think you also have this, Riyadh al-Salihin Nawawi. It's selection from Bukhari, Muslim and different collections of hadith, and arranged according to subjects like Tawbah, like Salah, like different topics. You also have translation for this. So if you have translation, that will also help you. I would suggest that whenever you read and come across a word that you have been looking for, you want to express an idea and you don't know what word to use, you can, if you find this word, you can take down, have a small dictionary like thing, jot down all these words that you find useful. And also, more than words, I would suggest the expressions, sentences, or half a sentence that you think is very useful. You want to use this in your life, that kind of expression. You can either highlight it in the text itself so that you can easily find out the expressions, and also make a note of these expressions at the end of the book. Usually there are 2 or 3 pages without writing. You can make a note there, cross-referencing. So that way, when you finish reading this book, you will have a very good collection of words and expressions. But mostly you must go in for expressions. You have ready-made sentences there. What to say, you will find sentences, and you can, as you say in Latin, mutatis mutandis. Make necessary changes. If it is masculine, don't use masculine for feminine. If it is feminine, use the masculine when you are speaking to a man. Plural, if it is singular, you want to use it plural, change it. You know the language. So don't use as they are, but make necessary changes and use them. That will help you a lot. In Arabic, there are 2 modes. One is pausal mode and the other is continuous mode. there are rules and regulations, a lot of. So, according to the rule of waqf, you must say al-kitab. When you stop, you say al-kitab, write al-kitab. You don't say write al-kitaba. But I've been telling people, the Arabs, when they listen to people learning like this, write al-kitaba, they will say no, you must tell write al-kitab. I say it is wrong. For learning, you must, later on, after you learn the language, you can make use of the rules of pause, al-waqf. But while you are learning the language, it's better to use the non-pausal form, right? Otherwise, you will not learn the language. Arabs have difficulty in learning the language because they always use without the final vowel. There is a famous saying in Arabic, sakkin taslam. Sakkin, that means use sukoon, taslam, you will be safe. Sakkin taslam. Why taslam is majzoom? Sakkin taslam. Taslam majzoom. Why? Jawab al-talab. Sakkin taslam. Salima yaslamu. Sakkin taslam. That is, read with sukoon and you will be safe. Lam, you say lam yaktub, yaktub, always yaktub, lan yaktub, lam yaktub, lan yaktub. So you don't know, even the man who has probably, he knows the grammar probably. So we can't learn. Masmuka, masmuki. You will never learn if you have sukoon, how to say masmuka and masmuki. It's a masmuk for both. So it is better not to follow the rule of waqf while you are learning the language. It's better to ignore it for the time being. And even if by habit later on you also do not make use of the rule of waqf, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. So even if you say masmuka and masmuki, no problem. So when you are teaching, those who are teaching, it's better always to bring out the final vowel so that the student learns it. Al-kitabu, min al-kitabi, with emphasis. Kitabun, al-kitabu, kitabun. Without al, it should be tanween. To bring out the tanween. So this way, the students will learn. Otherwise, it's difficult to learn because the language, the grammar of Arabic, the language of Arabic is all based on the endings. If you know the endings, you learn the language. If you read with sukoon, you will never learn the language. There is a saying, the Europeans say, you read a language to understand. You read a language, English, French, German, whatever, you read a language to understand. But you understand Arabic to read. You read a language to understand, but you understand Arabic to read. I know. Is it kataba, kutiba? When you understand, first of all, just take half a second. Say katabat aminatu. Katabat aminatu. Or kataba Muhammadun. It may be kataba Muhammadun, it may be kutubu Muhammadin, books of Muhammad. Both are possible. If you say katabat, you say it may be katabat, or it may be katabta, it may be katabti, it may be katabtu. So unless you understand the sentence, you will not be able to read it properly. So try to understand sentence. I have seen students immediately reading the word, and then next word they have to stop there because it doesn't click. So don't read. First of all, try to understand the sentence, 2 words, 3 words, whatever it is. Try to understand sentence, then read. So it is if it is Kutubu Muhammadin, then of course it's a Kutubu Muhammadin. If it is Kataba Muhammadun, Muhammad wrote. So the context will tell you what it is. The context will tell you. It's not so difficult. The context will always tell you what the word is. Sometimes, very rarely, you may get a sentence where it is difficult to, because the context doesn't help you. But mostly the context will help you. So first of all, understand Arabic should be understood. Who told you that quotient IQ? Arabic enhances the IQ. Yes. Yeah.
If you want to increase your IQ,
Yeah. So Arabic is makes you always alert. You have to understand the sentence before you. Also, when you speak, you should know what the ending should be before you speak. It's a language which needs attention and understanding of the language. So those who teach, please emphasize the endings, and then repetition. Lot of repetition. Languages languages are not learned by lectures. You can learn mathematics, physics, all the subjects by just listening to a lecture. You can listen. But language is a skill. It's not a knowledge. It's a skill. A skill is like driving a car. It's like typing. So the more you do, the more you learn. But just if somebody teaches you how to drive in a classroom and then you will either either end up in a ditch or in a policeman's arms. So languages have to be practiced. Lot of practice, lot of in language, it is the ear which helps you. If somebody says, I go to he says, it's not wrong, it's wrong. He'll say, what do you say it is wrong? He says, I don't know, but I have never heard I go to him, I go to he. I always heard people saying, I go to him. So he may not know the grammatical basis of the construction, but his ear will always help him. So the more you hear correct language, the more you will find out. Even without knowing the grammar, I have seen, there was a student from Greece, Irfan, his name was Irfan. He came and he was speaking correct Arabic. So I wanted to put him in the final level. He said, no, I don't know the language. How come you to speak? He said, when the Arabs come to my place, I always follow them, listen to them, and help them, and I listen to them. And that's how I learned the language. I don't know the grammatical basis of these things. I just know how to speak. There was another man from Afghanistan. He spoke perfect Arabic, but he did not know grammar. Perfect Arabic. And also he said that he used to be with the Arabs and learn the language. And the universities refused to put him in the language course. He was put in the university program and he failed because he did not know the language. So you can, the ear, please, by repetition you will find out what is the correct ending, what is the correct form of your verb. By repeating several times, you must ask your students to repeat, and that will help you a lot to find out the correct position of a word, even if you do not know the grammatical basis. Book 1, I always tell my colleagues, it should not, when he teaches the book 1, he should sit down and rest. His students should do the work. You say, Ma hadha, hadha kitabun, hadha qalamun, hadha qalamun la. Then he sits down, then every student comes and practices. If there is 10 students, 10 times the students here, the same thing. He gets the confidence to speak these sentences, to pronounce these sentences. So language at the beginning should be only practice. The teacher should rest, and when he comes to book 2, book 3, he can do some work. But in the beginning, the work should be done mainly by the students. You must have language aids. These language aids help. Abdur Asif has done so many charts and all, but there should also be other aids. And I think I used to do this in teaching my book. It should be acted out. Each student should be given a role. One should be, we got brothers and sisters, so each one takes a role, and each one says when his chance comes, he speaks out. So they can understand and live the language actually. So that will help a lot to understand the construction of the sentences. And we can make a small aids. For example, we have في محل جر في محل رفع. So we can have a piece of paper, for example, like this, and do like this, and say جاء هذا, for example, هذا, and then here below you write بلال. جاء بلال. هذا doesn't show anything, so we say it is في محل رفع. You can show, you see here, this is مرفوع. هذا في محل رفع. So also other forms. When you come to مقصور, the sentence I have given in the book, قتل الفتى الأفعى بالعصا. قتل الفتى الأفعى, the boy killed the viper with a stick. To bring out the real endings, the endings here are muqaddara. You can't pronounce them because of the alif, because of the alif. Alif doesn't take fatha, kasra, dhamma. So you can say, for example, bring other words which have the same meaning and which take fatha, dhamma, kasra. So for example, you say qatala al-waladu. Al-waladu, you got dhamma. قتل الفتى, also same like that. قتل الولد الحية بالعود. عود, stick. بالعود. Here you see all the 3 vowels. قتل الولد الحية بالعود. The same way, قتل الفتى الأفعى بالعصا. Same ending, we don't see them. And I was telling you, for Mamnoon min as-sarf, I wanted to do this, but we didn't have time. You can draw 2 dhammas on a hardboard or cardboard and paint them as if they are iron, look like iron, follow me, and ask a boy to lift them, 2 dhammas, Hamidun, he lifts them very easily. Call a girl and ask her, she is not able to lift these 2 dhammas, and I say, we absolve you of 1 dhamma, you can take only 1 dhamma, retain only 1 dhamma. So this kind of thing, the aids help a lot. At Islamic University, I made a small skit with Mamnoon min as-sarf. There was a man distributing tanween. He said, I distribute tanween free of charge. So he comes, then people go, I want a tanween. What's your name? My name is Bilal. Oh, Bilal, okay, I'll give you. Then he puts the tanween here. His name is written Bilal here, and the tanween is pinned here. So you got Bilal on. Another one comes, so what's your name? My name is Shah Jahan. So no, you can't get him. Why? He said, because it's a foreign proper name, you can't get him. Okay, supposing it's very long, and he says, okay, if I remove half of it, will you accept? Okay, if you have Shahun only, we'll give you. Shah Jahan, no. Shahun, only 3 letters, we can give you. Then a sister comes and says, no, you can't get. Why? It's only for boys, for men. I'm sorry, you can't. And then Hamza comes and says, Hamza, no, I can't. You have got a trait of women in you. Trait of women, what is it? You got ta marbuta. So these kind of, William, no, it's only for Arabs. You get out. So there was a brother who was very humorous and he did it very well. So these kind of things can be done, and the language learning can be really very lively and interesting and enjoyable. Grammar classes, Arabic classes in Arab countries, all the Arab countries are very, very dry, and the students run away from these classes. Very difficult and very taxing. Many students don't like, because the way it is taught, same old books are, the teacher repeats whatever. When I was teaching, an inspector came. You know the word inspector here, or what do you use? Huh? Yes, but in Canada use this word. In the schools you have inspectors. You have. Okay, inspector, there is a man who comes and finds out how the teacher is doing, evaluates him. You know what I mean? So he came. I was teaching Noon al-Thaqila, I think. Then when he went out, he took me and said, why don't our children learn like this? Why don't our children, that is Arab children, learn like this? They don't teach like this. Unfortunately, it's a classical method, just, you write the rule. And so language teaching can be made very lively with, and you have got the classical example of brother Asif, who has made the teaching of Arabic so interesting and lively. So we can have these language aids, live aids, students taking part, participation of the students. You ask them questions, they reply. That way the classes can be very interesting, and students learn the skills of the language. Now these are some of the thoughts I wanted to share with you, and inshallah I find that there is a lot of interest in Arabic here, and students coming from far off, as Brother Asif told me, coming from distant places to learn the language, even when it was snowing or not. So that shows that there is a lot of interest, and this interest should be made use of, should be properly channeled. And we have, alhamdulillah, materials now. With the advent of the videos, we have got very useful material. We have got the book, we have the material, we have the dictionary, we have got the website, we have got the forum. So it's also going to help us a lot, inshallah. And when I come next time, inshallah, not soon, but inshallah, I'll be, inshallah, I expect to to find you more with more achievements and more interest in the language, and more students, more teachers in the field, inshallah. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that we are getting emails from different parts of the world, from far off places, Australia, from India, Pakistan, from China, from this place, but not from Saskatoon and from Yellowknife and Whitehorse. So I don't know, there doesn't seem to be much work here. So you must try to have a franchise in these places. Inshallah. Okay, with these words I take leave of you. Inshallah we'll meet inshallah soon, bi-idhnillah. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.